We have time for about 2 more questions, and I've got one up here.
Yes. Somehow we were wise and have term limits for the president. When do you think we're going to wise up and have term limits for Congress?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure we were so wise in having term limits for the president. And I'll tell you why. Term limits for the president came about for, I think, one fundamental reason. First of all, the Republicans were scared to death that A. Roosevelt would come along and literally destroy the Republican Party. Secondly, Roosevelt in his declining years was in fact declining. He made mistakes at Yalta that hindsight clearly suggests were a result of diminished capacity. And so the argument that we should not have a continuing presidency which does not catch up with the realities of the physical and mental condition of the holder of that office in exchange for experience is a good thing. I think in a democracy, we ought to have the right to elect anybody we want. And if we want the same guy again, and the guy who's running against him doesn't convince us that we're wrong, we should not be told by fiat, too bad. You can't have him anymore. And you may disagree with me, and maybe it's a good thing or not, but I suggest that if we didn't have term limits, Al Gore would not have been the candidate for president from the Democratic Party in 2000. So your premise troubles me, not because a case cannot be made for term limits, but the case that is made for term limits is intellectually dishonest. The only thing that should cause term limits is incapacity of one form or another that renders whoever that individual is unfit to govern. And then I would be more in favor of term limits than perhaps you.
Okay, we got one more down here.
Yes.
First of all,
my friend from Cargill.
Yeah.
I've pointed you out now.
First of all, I wanted to say how much I have enjoyed your lectures aboard this cruise, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My question goes back to globalization and a little bit about this gentleman's question over here. If we think of globalization as being the free flow of capital, trade, technology, ideas, seems to me, as you said, that's been going on for quite a long time. It is growing, though, and it's growing as other countries democratize and their economies start to grow, and they're all able to participate. During the campaign, and here comes the question, President Obama-elect, has said on a number of occasions that he would penalize American companies that exported jobs abroad because, and the way he would do that would be taking their tax concessions away from them. Well, I don't know what those tax concessions are, and maybe you do, but my question is, does President-elect Obama really fear globalization? And is he going to be negative towards the continued growth of globalization in a way that may stifle trade and stifle foreign direct investment? And the reason I say that is that we talk about outsourcing, and people get scared about outsourcing, but then you look around and you realize that there are more automobiles made in this country within 500 miles of Greenville, South Carolina, than are made in Detroit. And they're being made by BMW and Honda and Toyota, et cetera, et cetera. So that's creating jobs in this country. I mean, they're exporting jobs. Where do you think Obama comes down on this?
I think it was a mistake for him not to be more specific in indicating that his concern is that we should not reward companies for exporting jobs. We should not reward companies in the tax code. And I suggest to you that while I am not intimately familiar with it, I am at least conversationally familiar with it. And we give tremendous tax breaks to companies for taxes that they pay in countries that they are in. We, in effect, give them a tax deduction from their United States taxes if they paid taxes in Indonesia. Well, if he had said that, I would venture to guess that a fair majority of the people in this room would say, I don't think that's such a good idea. I like where you're coming from. When you talk about simply penalizing companies for shipping jobs abroad and not indicating what the penalty is, why it is, and what it should be changed to, it creates the point of view that you have honestly expressed to me. I will tell you that he understands, so far as I'm able to divine it, that you are not going to be able to convince anyone who is in business to make a profit that it is in their interest to pay someone $14 an hour, give them health care coverage, retirement benefits, and the list goes on, when you can have that same product made for substantially less elsewhere. And you are not going to turn back that tidal wave, no matter how well-intentioned you may be, no matter how your mandate to govern may be, because economics drives the world. And you don't make economic decisions that are antithetical to common sense. So I think the important thing to keep in mind is that we developed a culture during the 50s that incentivized companies to invest in other countries. The fact is, we overthrew the government of Panama because United Fruit was not able to get in there under the existing regime, and so the CIA went into Panama and created a regime change so that we could get United Fruit into Panama. I don't think that would be a policy that any president today would endorse. But if, in fact, we can get foodstuffs from Panama to develop their economy so they are in a position to buy things from us that they do not make, I suggest that he would be not only in favor of it, but understand that it is absolutely necessary, because as the world economy shrinks, so the world economy grows.